question that came out there. What's the hats? So if you've known Knolly, you can find him anywhere based on his Stetson, his cowboy hat. He is a Texan that now lives in Puerto Rico. I found that out when we ran into each other at the shareholders event, or EXPCon. Hope you're doing great down there. I'm gonna give you all a little backstory. I met Knolly about 2008. And at this point, he was writing a book about short sales and was just changing the industry, helping us out. And I had an opportunity and took the opportunity to invest in what he was building.
Yes.
And through that came a friendship. Now, I have to tell you, I was as surprised that Fred, God bless the Godfather, Mr. DeFalco, I'm looking up like, holy cow, Knolly's going to be on our call. And I'm like, oh, heck yes, I'm joining this call. This is the real deal. Knolly's not only a friend of mine, but he's an inspiration in the business. Besides an entrepreneur, writing books, helping people out. You want to be here. And if you aren't with pen and paper, there are nuggets going to be dropped all over the place. Now, that's it for my introduction, except to say that this is one of the calls I am so excited for. Fred, I'm going to turn it over to you, let you steer it from the rest of the way, and I'm going to be your support right behind you, brother.
All right, my friend. All right. Hey, and then I'm going to change Knolly's name today to Knolly, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. It's Knolly as far as I'm concerned, and then I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But anyway, welcome to the midweek Mind Body Mastermind. As always, I always put in the chat the Mind Body Mastermind Facebook group. If you're not a member, you're missing out. We're getting close to 400. Let's see if we can make that 400 today. That would be great. The Mind Body Mastermind, for those of you who have been here hanging out with me for the last, what's it been, George? 4 years? Oh my gosh, 3.5.
4 years, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm all about unlearning and not learning. It is all about, getting rid of that BS in your life, those belief systems that have been given down and handed down to us by mother, fathers, teachers, and preachers in our lives that hold us back. It's all BS, all the belief systems. So that's what it's all about. And today, I think you're going to see that it's going to be no different. This is our Facebook group here. I definitely would love you to join in there. It's in the chat. Come in here and contribute and be a part of that community. So without any further ado, and now I'm going to tell you why this man is Knolly as far as I'm concerned, because he's holy. Okay. Not the kind of holy we were trying. If any of you have any type of religious influence or any type of influence like that, sometimes we've been kind of deceived. We're supposed to be holy, HOLY. That's a story for another theology, but we are designed to be holy. George, to mute George. Need to mute George.
Oh.
Mute George.
Sorry about that. My wife just walked in. She goes, "Who's here?" I said, "It's my friend Knolly."
Oh, there you go.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Hey, so anyway, Knolly, as of today, you're Knolly, okay? Let's change that. Let's get that across, because you are holy, WHOLLY. When you hear this man speak, you will know he definitely is whole. So that's what my sharing and helping, and my 45 years of being in this business and life, 69 years, it's all about becoming whole, WHOLE, holy, because that's what we were designed to be. So Knolly, make us more holy today, my friend. And here's his website. It's very easy, Knolly.com. Knolly, keep that in mind. Put that in the chat. So you take it from here, man. I don't like doing long introductions and taking away time from you, because I know when you're finished, there's going to be tons of questions. As we go along, please put your questions in the chat. And by the way, everyone take a look. Now, she may not be on your right-hand side, but look at that lady there, Sandy Bonnerant, right there. There is. She's our next week's speaker. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You got to hear her story too. So Knolly, let's go ahead, man. Let's get this show on the road. And a lot of times I'll do questions and interviews that way. But for you, I know, man, it's just, you're wound up and I don't need to say a word. So I'm here to listen.
I appreciate it, Fred. And that's quite interesting, because I didn't even prepare a presentation for today. I was just like, okay, let's just hang out. I'm hanging out with Fred. So that means we're just going to kind of chat it up.
That's it, man.
Yeah, we can do that. So what I'll do, I'll just kind of start, I'll introduce myself and kind of share my story. And I've got some very, very exciting things that I've been working on. So excited about them. My wife and I actually just, oh, by the way, what's up, George? Love you, brother. And I see a couple more hats in the house. What's up? All right, there he is. Okay, who we got? Claire. It says Claire Autry. Oh, there we go. All right, Claire is in the house with the hat. So I appreciate you guys. I do have a black hat too. I don't sport that too much, but yeah, I am enjoying Puerto Rico. My wife and I spent 31 years in Austin, Texas, which is a beautiful city. I love Austin. Some of you guys see you nodding your head. Austin's a cool city, but we really moved here for the weather. People are like, why'd you move to Puerto Rico? I'm like, have you gotten the news bulletin? You can live anywhere in the world now and still operate your business. So I discovered something. Here's what I'm super excited about right now today. Well, before I get into that, I'll leave the anticipation. But before I get into that, let me just share what I've been up to this week. So Josie and I, we flew to Phoenix, Arizona. We had a great mastermind with one of my mentors, Curtis Johnson. I call him CJ. And then I was with Fred Weaver, Kevin Kaufman. We were hanging out, and they really amped me up and put it. And we need this from time to time. This is why the big events, or even sometimes the intimate events, and mind body. This whole Facebook group, everything that Fred is doing here is so important. We need to plug in because, and kudos to you. I'm not preaching to the choir, right? But kudos to you for being here. But we have to plug in because there's going to be a nugget. There's going to be something that you get. So we went to Phoenix. It was cold, colder than I expected it to be. And then we said, okay, well, let's just go to Sarasota for a few days. So we flew to Sarasota, Florida. And we thought we were going to be on the beach. Of course, we have the beach here, which is really nice. But we thought, okay, we're just going to hang on the beach. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But they have the red tide right now. I don't know if we have anybody in from that Tampa area in the house right now. But they've got the red tide. So it was like, you can't go to the beach. It's you can't breathe. It was like, crap. So then Brent Gove calls me up. He's like, hey, Knolly, so some of you guys know Brent Gove. And he called me up. He says, hey, man, my birthday is on Tuesday and we're having a big birthday party at my house. Can you make it? I was like, man, my flight's not going back till Friday. And then we were rescheduling it for Wednesday. So I said, so I made a few maneuvers. We flew back into Puerto Rico yesterday. We landed right before 5:00 p.m. Okay. And then Brent's birthday party was at 6. So Josie and I, we have a neighbor of ours picked us up, hightailed us back to our house. We freshened up a little bit and boom, we went over to Brent's house. And that's how we spent last evening. Just so much fun. And what I'm excited about, the reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm super excited that I've discovered something along the way in my entrepreneurial journey. And Fred alluded to this. He's been 40 plus years in business. I started in business when I was 12 years old. This is God's honest truth. I was an entrepreneur at 12 and I'm now 53. I just had a birthday last week or a couple of weeks ago. So I'm 53 now. And so I've been an entrepreneur for 40 years as well. And I got to tell you, the big discovery that I made is that you don't have to spend all of your life on the hustle and grind. You don't have to do that. I'm called the business healer. And how that came about, just like Fred says, it's Knolly now, right? So yep. how that came about was I hired a company. Actually, they sought me out. They said, man, we see you on YouTube. How come you don't have a bigger following? I said, I don't know. More people need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. What can I say? I don't know. They said, man, well, we've checked out the stuff you're doing and it's big. And we think you should have more people following you and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. I like that idea. And these are the same people that discovered Grant Cardone when he was just selling his products to used car dealerships. Nobody knew who he was. They discovered Mel Robbins when she was unknown. And they made brands out of those people. And so they were like, man, what are we going to do with you? Like, how are we going to, what's your brand? I was like, well, I mean, let's talk about it. So we went on and we talked about my life and my past and my childhood and all the things. And they said, you know what? You're the business healer. That's everything that you do is that you're the business healer. So I said, okay, that sounds good. And as we were going through and figuring out, okay, what's next, Phil talked about that, he was a big investor, or I'm sorry, George Philbeck talked about the idea that, he and I met, I think we met at a family reunion, or I don't know where we met, somewhere. And years and years and years and years ago, and he became one of the original investors. I was like, hey, I need investors for this short sale product that I want to come out with. It's the whole toolkit. And George was like, I'll invest. He was like one of the first ones. And then he invested in it and several other people. And then I started, when short sales kind of, dried up, if you will, I went back to traditional listings, which is where I cut my teeth. I took over 1,000 listings my first 10 years in the business. And I wanted to teach other agents how to succeed because I saw a lot of agents struggling. And I was like, man, this is easier than y'all think. And so I created a blueprint for it with short sales. And then with traditional listings, I wrote the book Success with Listings. And then as I was going through with Two Market Media, they were like, man, where are you at today? I said, well, today I'm in Puerto Rico. And then the next time I'd be in Florida. And the next time I'd be, in California, Santa Monica, wherever. I like being a lot of places. And they said, man, every time we talk to you, and we were talking once or twice a week, you're somewhere new. You got a different background. You're in a different place. And we already know you run 3 separate and distinct businesses because they vet you. They don't just work with anybody. So they knew that I had 3 businesses, all making multiple 6 figures. And they said, but you don't seem to work. Like you're always, I said, yeah, I do work. I work 3 hours a day. I was like, 3 hours a day. How do you do that? So I started breaking it down to them. I said, man, I discovered this like almost 10 years ago. It was a discovery that I made. And I started teaching them how I do it. They said, that's what you need to teach people. And so, Victoria, you're not muted. Mute. Who we got the police in the house? Okay. I'll let Fred be on it. And so anyway, so we actually, the last almost 6-7 months, I've been working on this new project that I'm super excited about, which is 3 hours a day. I'm actually teaching you how to do what I do, how to live like I live. And the truth of the matter is you can have ultimate freedom. Ultimate freedom is freedom in 3 categories. Okay. It's time freedom, it's location freedom, and it's financial freedom. And if you unlock all 3 of those freedoms, you have what I call ultimate freedom. You can work anywhere you want to work. You can work the hours that you choose, and you're not hurting for money. You don't need money. I mean, I shouldn't say it that way. People get after me for that. Money is attracted to you. Okay. Money is automatically attracted to you because you're using your gifts to basically bless others. So I created a blueprint for this 3 hours a day. And we actually took that and we presented the concept to 3 big publishers. Now, here's what they told me, Fred. They said, Knolly, don't get your hopes up. We're going to go with the 3 biggest publishers in America, and probably they're not going to bite on it. And so when they don't bite, they prep me for it. When they don't bite, because probably 100 out of 100 books that are submitted to them, they reject. So when they don't bite, we're going to take it to these other 30 publishers, which are really good publishers. And if they don't bite, we got another list of like several hundred publishers that one of them will pick it up. So we presented it to Hay House, McGraw-Hill, and I think it was Simon & Schuster. I always get that one mixed up. But anyway, McGraw-Hill picked it up. They love the idea. They said more entrepreneurs need to know about this. We love what you're doing. This is a big idea that the world needs. And so they're my new publisher, McGraw-Hill. And it's quite interesting because they are the #1 educational publisher in North America. #1. I got picked up by the #1 publisher, which, all glory to God on that. And but Fred hinted to something too. Our life is a preparation. Everything that you've done in life, and we are holistic beings, everything that you've done in life is a preparation, okay, for the opportunity that's coming down the pike. And that's why we have to give it all we've got. And that's why we have to pay it forward. We have to share. We have to help others. So I've got a lot that I could share, Fred, if you want to jump in with any questions.
One of the things, Knolly, holy Knolly, there you go, my friend.
Yeah.
You like that? Yeah, I love it. Hey,
My,
listen,
my name actually, to just to harp on that for just a second. My name is actually not Knolly, and it's how I say it. My name is Caribbean. People ask me often, like, is that a nickname? I'm like, okay, like seriously, I would pick a nickname like that, My name is Knolly Alexander Williams Jr. So that was my dad's name. I was named after my dad. And so, but it's a Caribbean name. It's from Trinidad. And the name is actually not Knolly. We actually call it that when we moved to here with my dad. I'm a first generation American. So when my dad moved here from Trinidad to the United States, he changed the name. So it was actually, like when you say coffee, Knolly. So it's not Knolly and it's not Knolly, it's Knolly. And the word means in one's own life, in one's own life.
wow,
My
cool.
middle name, and I never shared this, but my middle name is Alexander, which means the savior of lost souls. So my name literally means the savior of lost souls in one's own life. And I got to tell you, you know, I don't say this lightly, but I see that I've been sent sort of like Moses, which is sort of like a Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. Okay, let's get that straight. But I'm sent almost as a Messiah to people that have forgotten. We have forgotten that we're here on this planet to enjoy life. We're here to have a experience. Write this down. There's 3 reasons why you're here. People are like, why am I here? What's going on? You go to work every day. You're hustling. You're on your grind. Oh, I got a side hustle. I'm doing this. That's not why you're here. You're here for 3 reasons. Number 1, you are a human being. Okay. You're here to be. That's number 1. You're not a human doing. You're not necessarily here to do. You're here to be. And what being is having an experience. You are here on this planet to have a unique and special experience. Number 2, you are here to do. I mean, you have a mission, you have a purpose. And I got to tell you this, Fred, most people aren't on their purpose. They're not on their mission. Why? Because they don't even know what it is. They don't know why they're here. They don't know what they're here to do. But you do have a unique and special mission that you're here to do. Okay, so that's doing. And we're also here to give. That's the 3rd thing. We're here to give. We're givers. We are givers, we're givers by nature. Now, we can choose to not be a giver, but we are naturally givers. People ask me all the time, why do you give so much, man? Why is 99% of the stuff you put out free? Well, it's like asking a rose, why do you bloom? Well, because I'm a rose. That's why I bloom. It's like a rose just smells good and it blooms and it does all this stuff, not because it's trying to be anything. It's just being who it is. And we are givers. That's what God designed us to be. So we're here to be, number 1, we're here to do, and we're here to give. Everything that you learn, you pay it forward, you share it with others. And that's creates the holistic approach to it. By the way, if those of you guys know the word integrity, all that word means is to be whole. That's the word, integrity.
Holy, man, holy.
Holy, baby. What's up?
Hey, you know what? No, Knolly, I'm going to stick to that. Hey, listen, it's amazing you went there. Now, some of the people that have been hanging out with me for 4 years, they're probably saying, oh, no, did you really get him to go there? One of the things that you and I have never had an opportunity. And by the way, tell everyone we didn't practice before we got on. This is not,
No,
but this is what I've been teaching for 4 years to the group.
wow.
This
This
left
is
side
powerful.
is all about the doing. This side is about the being. This is
Wow.
where we really are. This is the soul. This is the external. This is the internal. So,
Sure.
my friend, I'm
Wow.
so glad you brought that up, because one of the things that we don't.
I got to get that chart, man. That looked like that's a boot camp right there.
Oh, hey, let me tell you something. There's about 10 of them. Everyone says.
Yeah, I love it.
But
Wow.
anyway, one of the things, I'm a student and a teacher in A Course in Miracles. One of the things A Course in Miracles teaches is that we're here for one reason, is to be saviors, every single one of us. And we don't
Yeah.
realize that. A
Yeah.
lot of religions, a lot of Christianity that I was indoctrinated in as from a young kid, and fortunately saved my life, because it didn't, I 2 of my brothers gone very young because they didn't have that experience. But one of the things that we mistake is that salvation is of another world. Salvation is of this world, right? You're hitting it right on the head, man. We're here to help everybody, and we're here to save each other, and we're students and teachers of one another. people come up to me all the time, especially as a coach, they'll say, well, I wasn't sure what you wanted. We're not here for me to teach you something. We're here to unlearn together, and we're here to
That's
share
right.
together. We're here to grow together. And I don't care how much experience, especially younger people go like they're intimidated to talk to you when they hear all your experience. I go, you teach me more than I teach you. I learn more from you than you do from me. Just don't realize it. So I love that you started there. So you're right, man. That's the foundation of everything. And once you have that, the sky's the limit, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when you look at our when you look at the clock, man, it goes around pretty quickly. So you're right,
Yeah.
man. I'm glad you started there. But let's do this. The 3-hour work week, because we got two types of people on, and a lot of them in the middle, but we have those that are struggling just to get started, or they've had that dip because of the market and what have you, and especially the listings. So one of the
Yeah.
things I really want to hammer in on is just
Sure.
how to get those listings you talked about. 1,000 listings in 10 years, that's average 100 a year. Let's convert everybody on here this morning as a listing agent, get that mentality, number one. Number two, some tasks for that. The other thing is, for those that is Christian Rockwell on? Where's Christian? Is he on? Okay. He's out listing a property probably. Christian is at that. And how about Krista? Is Krista on? Krista Kohler on? And okay. And then where's Krista? Is she on? Yeah. Oh yeah. She's always there. She's out walking. Okay. So we have these people that are growing in my group, and they're like, I've got all the success now. What do I do with it? Oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's killing me. I'm up. Chris said the other day, she said, Fred, I'm starting to get like you. I'm now up at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you hang out with me. So anyway, that 3-hour thing, I want so listings and that 3-hour thing, because that way we'll cover, everyone that's on the call and what they came for, hopefully.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So on the listing side, I actually wrote this book, and this is, by the way, this is a textbook. Okay, when you look at it, look how thick it is. This is and it, don't let it intimidate you by the size, but it's 450 pages. 450 pages. People ask me all the time. They say, Knolly, man, how'd you take 1,000 listings your first 10 years? Can I pick your brain? I say, well, you know what? I got tired of people picking my brain, because it was like, I don't have any brain left here to pick. But I said, I'll pick it myself. And it took me 450 pages to pick. So this is the blueprint right here. Success with listings. If you don't have it, you need it. You got to get it, because it breaks it down. But I'm gonna simplify it. So there's only 2 problems that you'll ever have in any business. Okay, I'll make this real simple. In any business, you'll only ever have 2 problems, and you already know what those 2 problems are. Let me see you throw it in the chat. What are the 2 problems? And by the way, you'll typically be on either one side of this or the other. Okay.
2 problems. What are they? Money and time. Someone said time.
That's it. Money and time. That's the only 2 problems you'll ever have in business. That's it. Money and time. So you guys already know. See, Fred attracts the best students. So it's money and time.
By the way, Knolly, I have to tell you, Holly, Holly, is the one that got that. So good job, Holly.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you, Holly. Yeah, I appreciate that. We got to give Holly props. Money and time. So on one side of it, the money, and by the way, this is called feast or famine. When you move back and forth between these 2 problems, that's called feast or famine. But let's talk about the first problem. So the money problem is a problem where you're not making it. You're not at least making 6 figures. I don't know how anyone in this country can live without even 6 figures doesn't do it for me. Like 100,000, like really seriously, I'm gonna live on that? No, that's not living. Now I'm not talking about surviving. Remember, there's 3 levels. I mean, there's 4 levels. If you're in this plane, okay, and you're in the workaday world, you're in the business world, you're either drowning, okay, you're either surviving, thriving, or flourishing. Okay, there's 4 levels. And I'm not talking about drowning and surviving. Oh man, we got to hustle. We got to grind. We're surviving. See, most entrepreneurs, all they did was trade the rat race for the hamster wheel. That's all they did. Okay. So now you're still on the treadmill. You're still on the hamster wheel. You just became that boss instead of having that boss. Okay. And so here's how you solve these 2 problems. The first problem is money. And that means that you just don't have enough business. Okay. Not busyness. Okay. That's a different word, busyness, which is what most people do. But business. Now, the way you solve the money problem is through lead generation. You have to lead generate every single day. And you have to do that for, in my opinion, 2 hours. Okay. Or you could do 90 minutes. So but you have to do it every single day. And there are 3 buckets, 3 major buckets where all the listing leads that you ever need will come from. Okay. Number 1 is your sphere of influence. Those are the people that know, like, and trust you already. Okay. Number 2 is your farm. That's a geographical area that you've chosen that you're going to dominate. You're going to run for mayor. You're going to be elected as mayor, and you're going to dominate that area. Okay. And then the third area is your niche. You got a niche to get rich. Now, if you're in New York, you might call it a niche. That's okay. We'll let it slide. But us Texans, we say niche because you got a niche to get rich. You have a specialty, a specificity that you specialize in, and you're spending your morning, for 2 hours, doing lead generation. Now, the second thing you're going to do is appointments. Okay. And by the way, this is very important, because if you only do these 2 things, you will get very, very wealthy, very rich. Okay. That's lead generation and appointments. Those are the only 2 things that you should focus on if you have a money problem. Lead generation, appointments, lead generation, appointment, lead generation, appointments. And the reason for that is I actually wrote, and I write about that in this book. There are 46 steps to a listing. Okay. So the first step is generate the lead. Second step is have a consultation. Third step, and so on, all the way, 46 of them. Okay. Now the 40th step is to go to the close, or close the property. That's the 40th step. And then there's 6 steps that happen after closing if you want to have clients for life. Now, of those 46 steps, get this, guess how many of those steps require a license? How many of the 46 steps require a license? Well, truthfully, it depends on the market, but about between 3 and 5 of those 46 steps actually require a license. So what I discovered, Fred, a long time ago, was that 91.3% of all activities that happened on a listing were able to be delegated. Okay. And this is a big problem that a lot of professionals have, is they have the problem of taking their business, systematizing it, organizing it, and then delegating it to someone else, and then overseeing, inspecting what they expect. So I did that, many years ago. And this is the way you're able to actually, because you're able to actually have the life that you were destined to have. The truth of the matter is, you're destined for a bigger, a greater, a bolder, a richer life than the one that you've been living. And there are only a couple of things that really matter in your business. There are only a couple of things that really move the needle. And I see a lot of people busy. Man, I put in 12 hours. I put in 14 hours. I got to tell you, I'm not high-fiving you. I'm not, okay? Because that's just dumb with a capital D. It's really dumb, because you're actually doing $12 an hour work most of the time. And busyness does not equals business. You have to be working on dollar productive. I don't even call them dollar productive activities anymore. I call them income creating activities. Write that down. Income, if you can. Now, if you're driving, don't write it down. Income creating activities. Okay. Income creation. What does that mean? That means you're either creating immediate cash flow or future wealth. Immediate cash flow, future wealth, immediate. And so you have to ask yourself, is this going to create? Now, here's an example. You're going to draw up a contract. That's not going to create immediate cash flow for you. No. Oh, well, yes, it does. Because if I don't have yes, but you've already got the deal. You're done. See, this is what I teach. Once you have the listing, you throw it over your shoulder, your team catches it, and they take it all the way across the finish line, right? They're the ones that take it all the way through. So if all you did was 2 things in your business, generate leads, talk to people, go on appointments, generate the lead, go on appointments, and everything else was handled by someone else, you would be able, like I was, my last year in production before I became doing what I do now, which is much more fulfilling for me. I did 153 deals. I was the number 1. Okay. I've actually just found this clipping. I was the number 1 solo agent in Austin, Texas. That year, we had about 9,800 agents. Okay. Knolly Williams was ranked #1 solo agent. Okay. I didn't have a team of agents. It was me by myself. I did 153 deals. My last year, that year, the first year that I got the award, I did 96 deals. And that was my, I think my 4th or 5th year in the business in real estate. And, but I had a lot of help. Okay. I had 4 assistants that did all the stuff. I had some licensed assistants also, because some things required a license. So that's the money side of it. Okay. Can we stop there for a minute? And then you want to get to the next, I can quickly go to the next side, or you want to do Q&A?
Yeah, no. Let's hold it. Just put the Q&A in the chat, guys, because
Okay.
I want you to keep rolling, man. Because everything you're just hitting all the stuff that people need to know. One of the things I will ask you, since you're ended right there, how many of your assistants are virtual? When you
Now
were
it's
active?
all of them. All of them
Wow.
are virtual now. They at the beginning, I had they used to be all, they would all come to an office and they would all work from there. They were all local. But now they're all virtual. Yeah.
And you have one source that you use that you like?
So I was using My Outdesk for many, many years.
What's the name of it?
There's My Outdesk.
Oh, My Outdesk.
My Outdesk. Yeah, I was using that one for many, many years. But there's so many good ones now. What's the one that Justin is Justin Nelson, I think that has I forget.
Oh, Spear Rocket.
Sphere Rocket. Yes, Sphere Rocket. I've heard some really good things about.
Yeah, it's a big investment for some people.
It is a big investment for a lot of people. Yeah. So
up front, but then he does a really good job. Yeah.
But here's the thing, Fred. This is very interesting because most people, most entrepreneurs, and this is not a slam to you, you're listening to this, because I love you. Okay. Knolly is saying this. Scripture says, speak the truth in love. Okay. And by the way, put it in the chat. Would you prefer that I, on a scale of truthfulness, by the way, I only have one level, but would you rather me hit you as a level 1 or level 10? Like, I'm just going to water it down and give you the sugar frosted truth, or you want the level 10? Put it in the chat.
Level 10.
Yeah. Okay. You want
don't
the
even
level,
give him
it's
a
already
vote
done.
on that one. Level 10.
That's the only level I usually roll with, but sometimes people get intimidated. They get because the ego, right? The ego picks this up and it's like, fool, who are you talking to? Like, okay, calm down, buddy. We're okay. We got this. Don't worry. So the reality is that most entrepreneurs suck. Most real estate agents suck at hiring. Okay. They make desperation hires. Oh, I got to get somebody. Knolly said, I got to get somebody. They get the wrong person. They don't follow my system. Well, Knolly said, work 3 hours a day. No, I didn't say that. You just go start working 3 hours a day. You're going to be broke. If you don't have the blueprint, you know, people just start doing stuff. This is God's honest truth. I got to tell this story. I've never told this story before, but it just came to mind. So we have some friends of ours that used to be our next door neighbors, and they said they didn't know how to swim. So you know what they did? They said they're going to watch YouTube videos to learn how to swim. That's what they did. They watched it on YouTube. Now, guess where they practiced swimming, Fred? On their carpet at home. They did all the stroke. Now, these are smart people, guys.
Is this real? This is
a real story. This is a true story. My wife is right here. She will vouch for this. So because they were going into Orlando or somewhere, a theme park, and they didn't know how to swim. So they did the backstroke. They did all these different techniques that they were learning on their, they're going to Aruba. Okay. They're going to Aruba. They were doing all this stuff on their carpet. Now I laughed when I heard about it, but Josie was like, stop laughing. You know, the lady almost drowned. This is a true story. They went on this ride and went through all this stuff, and they got dropped into a deep water, and they started doing the stuff that they practice on carpet, man. I was like, this is it. But they were in the water now, and they're like, whoa, I'm drowning. They had to get rescued. This is God's honest. This is a true story. You would think that nobody would do this. These are educated, college degree people. Okay. And it reminds me of a lot of times when people say, well, Knolly said work 3 hours a day, so I'm just going to cut my schedule. That is not what I teach. Okay. If you're not following my blueprint, my system, you're probably going to do it wrong, because I've seen a lot of people try to do it, and there is a way to do it. I even had to reverse engineer how I did it to even sort of teach it, you know, in a way. So the point is that most people hire the wrong hire. Most people hire someone just like them. That is the wrong hire. You have to hire the opposite of you. You have to hire the opposite of you. You don't want somebody just like you.
Yeah.
And now we got two people not getting anything done, right? You want the opposite of you. That's what you hire. And besides just the personality profile, which I always take, that only goes for like 15% of my decisioning is the personality profile. But there are other, key things that you want to look for when you hire somebody. And here's the thing: a lot of people wait until they have the money to hire. See, I don't ask the question. I don't say I can't afford. I don't say that about anything. Okay, because my father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. My daddy has a big wallet, so I can afford anything. The question that I ask is, how can I afford it? So instead of the statement, I can't afford it, just say, how can I afford that? So what I do with my VAs, all of them, okay, is I create a separate and distinct revenue source that pays for their salary. Okay, so that I don't actually pay any of my VAs out of my pocket. I'll give an example. So on my listings, I always charge a administration fee. A lot of people have a hard time doing it, and I would too if I offered the level of service that some of you guys offer. Okay, I'm not talking to you on this call, but somebody may be listening to the recording later. I'm talking to you. Okay, but I would be very mortified to charge the $595 that I charge on every deal that I do. But the reason why I've charged this fee over 1,200 times and every time it's paid is because of the level of service that I offer. Okay, and it also creates another revenue source. So just think about it. The year that I was, the first year that I got #1 production, this was Austin Business Journal. They do the report and they looked at who's producing. I did 96 deals and I charged $595 on every single transaction. Okay. Now think about that for a minute. 100 times 595 is what? Almost 60,000. So I had $60,000 coming in, and that completely paid for my VA staff. My VA, by the way, my VA team, it's 4 people that completely covered that. So don't assume that just because you don't feel like you have the money to afford. I don't think that you should have a single hire that doesn't pay for themselves completely with one tiny revenue source that you tweak, or maybe even 10% of their job they do, and some of my VAs, what I do, I have a guy that's a video guy. He's great with video and he can do them fast. So I have another service where people in my group can hire him to do their videos. They charge, it's $300 a month. I can take 5 people. That's $1,500. I pay him $1,000. Okay. So I'm generating $1,500 from him helping them with their videos because I don't need him I don't need him 40 hours a week. So he's still working for me 30 hours a week for free. Okay. I'm not paying him, so I'm outsourcing him, as he's already been outsourced. So there's a lot of creative things that we can do to where nothing that you do should cost money. Okay. I'm into investing. But that's a whole nother topic. So let's get into real quick. I want to get into the other side of the equation and help people solve that problem. Fred, if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I'm very long-winded and
no, man, I love it, man. Hey, are you kidding me? Hey, but one of the things, just quickly with VAs, one of the things I just started doing is having my VAs think more of managing a lot of the processes. Then we go to Fiverr and assign the little projects. Like I would have a VA spend 3 hours on a video, when she could go to Fiverr and get it done per task, and it saved me an awful lot that way. So yeah, go ahead. Let's move to the other, man. That's
actually the way that I teach to outsource your real estate. Before you even need, because most people don't need a VA. You don't really need a VA until you're at a certain level of production. You can actually have a what I call PPD, pay per deal, where you actually, and I have actually a sheet where I have, for you to put up the sign and lockbox, I pay you this. For you to do, to put up the sold sign, I pay you that. For you to go take pictures of the listing, I pay you that. For you to, even when it's a new construction walkthrough, I'm not going to do that. Now, I get it that there's a lot of goodwill that people want to have and they're creating with their clients. Like literally I outsourced going to the closing. Like I went to 0 closing. Why am I going to go to a closing? That's not, it's not generating. Oh, but Knolly, if you go to the closing, you get to have that put a bow on it, and you get to have that last time with the client, and then they're going to refer you business. No, I don't believe that. That's an hour wasted of my time. I'm going to have a representative from my company, one of my people, go to the closing, or I'm going to hire someone to go to the closing. I pay them $20 an hour, another agent. That's $40. Now, what I do is I go with Zoom. I go through the settlement statement with the client the night before. And I use Loom. I do a quick video where I walk through the settlement statement with them and I send it to them. It takes me about a minute and a half, 90 seconds. I say, hey, if you have any questions, go through this and let's talk about it. Nobody ever has any questions. So they go to the closing. I have somebody, I say, I have my delegate, such and such, or my colleague, so-and-so is going to be there at the closing with you. And then when they move into their house, I'll go spend an hour with them and we'll open a bottle of wine for an hour. I mean, why do I want to spend an hour? Oh, you want to tie the knot with them? Go to their house after they've moved in and spend an hour with them. That's a much better use of my time. So anyway, let's
move on because I want to allow a lot of room for questions. So go ahead.
Let's quickly solve the other problem, and then we're gonna put a stop to it, and then we're gonna just do Q&A. So the other problem is leverage. So once you're doing so much business, you're like, man, Knolly, see here, and write this down. Never take your foot off the lead generation pedal. I want you to mash your foot down on that 90 minutes, 2 hours a day. And it's going to hurt. You're going to get into some pain because you're going to be generating so much business after a couple of weeks. You're going to be like, I'm suffocated. I'm overwhelmed. Now you're in the other side of the equation. What would happen? Just think about this. A quick question. What would happen if you generated 21 listings in 7 days? 21, because people are like, oh, man, I need listings. I got to have listings. Okay, boom, 21 listings. What would happen? If you can't, it happened to me. That was a record for us. We did 21 listings in 7 days. We capped 1 year in 9 days. So what happened differently in our business? Nothing happened differently because we had if somebody went to Hershey candy bars and said, man, we need an order for 50,000 bars. They're not going to lose sleep over that. No problem. We're just going to run the machine for another hour. You need another 50,000 orders? No problem. So the reality is, if you don't have a well-oiled machine, that's what you need. And the fact that you're generating leads, don't take your foot off the lead generation pedal just because you're overwhelmed. You should never there's no such thing as too many leads. Okay. So on that side of it, on that side of the equation is now you've moved into the two big things for you on the other side when you don't have enough business is lead generation and appointments. On the other side is going to be branding and leadership. Branding and leadership. So now your lead generation I still do lead generation, but my lead generation looks different. So instead of, banging out the phones or doing whatever else I used to do, I'm doing things like this. I'm with my man DeMarco, right? We're on a podcast. Or DeFalco. What I'm saying? Why am I saying DeFalco?
That's it.
I just know him as Fred. Sorry, Freddie D. So I'm hanging out with Fred. I'm hanging out, with George, and I'm hanging out with you guys. And that's a branding. So branding is like doing YouTube, podcasts, Instagram. You're not a consumer of content. You're a creator of content, and you're actually putting your brand out there. Just think of yourself as the brand ambassador. You're already doing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 deals a year, 150, 200, 500 deals a year. Yes, I spent last week, last Thursday and Friday, I spent time with a gentleman that does how many? 1,700 transactions a year. Yes, 1,700. That's a guy that just didn't take his foot off the lead generation pedal. But now, is he personally doing that? No. Here's something that my coach told me when I first got in the business, and this is going to help somebody. It's going to help you. She told me, she said, Knolly, and I went right over to Mike Ferry, and I said, man, I need help. He said, hire a coach. So I did, and I didn't. Sometimes I can't afford it. I'm 8 months in the business, man. I'm going to get a coach. Yeah, you need a coach. You're going to pay $1,000 a month. Okay. So the first thing my coach told me, she said, Knolly, what are your goals? I said, I want to do about 20, 30, maybe even 40 deals a year. She said, nope, we're doing 100 plus. I said, 100 plus? Are you crazy? I didn't tell her that, but I'm thinking that. I'm like, no, we're not doing 100. She said, Knolly, I guarantee you that if you go, because I said 20 is good. If I do 20 deals a year, raise your hand if 20 deals a year would be good for you. It's like, yeah, 20 deals. What's up? I'm in the house. Yeah. So she said, okay, I get that. Because that was me. I was like, 20 deals, I'm good. She said, Knolly, we're going to bump that to 100. I said, so she said, I guarantee you that if you do 100 deals instead of your 20, you're going to work half as much. That didn't make sense to me. How many of you guys does that make sense to? It didn't make sense to me. I guess I wasn't that smart back then. It did not make any sense. I said, so you're telling me I'm going to do 5 times the production that I want to do and work half the time? Sign me up. And that's what I did. So by my second year, I did 80 deals, and I did 100+ deals a year every year after that. And so the thing is that you're actually moving into being a brand ambassador. So that's branding. And then you're leading your team. You're leading your team. You're leading your people that are actually doing the work. Now, you could even if you're doing, you could actually do 100 deals a year and still actually go on listing appointments. Okay. What would that look like? That would look like you going on, if you're really, really good, you go on 2 listing appointments a week. Raise your hand if you could do 2 appointments a week. Okay. About an hour and a half. Yeah. Anybody, we could all do that. And then you're actually, you're generating for the rest of the time. Just think about this for a second. You're generating 2 hours a day. That's 10 hours a week for those 2 appointments. Okay. And when you get really good at it, when you get real proficient at it, you're going to be going on 2, 3, 4 appointments a week. And that's okay, because you have that hour in the afternoon, to go on that appointment. But you might just decide, hey, I'm going to have other people go on my appointments, and I'm just going to pay them to do the appointment. I'm going to give them $500. $500, the last time I checked, that's on a 2-hour appointment, that's $250 an hour. Now, they got to be good. Eventually, I got to the point where I actually partnered with a gal, and I paid her 30%. Because it was just too many. I just didn't want to go on appointments. I don't know any other way to say it. So I was just in the cockpit, and I was generating the business. She would go on the appointments, and she would get 9 out of 10. Boom, signed up. She was a little gal. She was about 5'2", 5'3", blonde hair, light eyes, and I guess you'd say Caucasian. I want to be, politically correct, whatever. So people would be like, man, where's the black cowboy? She said, I am. She came in, her name is Susan. She said, I am the black cowboy. Now let's get to work on your house. She was gangster with it. So I eventually got to that point. But so on one side of the equation, it's generating leads, going on appointments. When you get to the other side, it's branding. You're the brand ambassador, okay, and you're leading your team to success. And in 3 hours a day, I teach all of that, no matter what side of the equation you're on. But some people go back and forth. They get a bunch of leads, they stop generating. Okay. They start working that business, and then they're broke. Then they got to go back and generate a lot of leads. Boom, 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 boom. Then they're overwhelmed. Then they go take their foot. That's not the life for you. That's not the life for you. You deserve better.
Right. Yeah, man, good stuff, man. Good stuff. And one of the things with the brand ambassador, and every one of us on this call have done the same thing, is that, well, I'm not really good at that. And that's the first thing. It's the language you're telling yourself. You just got to breathe. DJ, she's a coach. She put in there something, breathe in and then breathe out. I mean, that's one of the practices I've done for years. I breathe in, the positive I want, and I go, I'm going to get rid of that negative thinker. I'm going to get rid of this. But you always want to approach it, that, hey, I am going to, like technology. Like people say, oh, I'm a dummy when it comes to technology. Well, first of all, you got to quit saying I'm a dummy when it comes to technology. You mentioned one comment about, I can't afford it versus how can I afford it? Little things like that make a world of difference. That's mindset, right? That's attitude and mindset, right?
Absolutely.
So that's fantastic, man. Okay, cool. I wish we would have 2 hours here, man, because we're getting on the listings. And one of the things that was interesting, you said, your first year you hired a coach. We have a lot of coaches on here, and you need to change coaches. You don't hook with someone and you hook with someone and you move to another. You move to, because they're all different. They all come from different angles.
I say drink from many fountains.
Absolutely. I've got 3 going myself right now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So,
And by the way, the more successful you become, the coaches get more expensive.
a lot
I
more.
learned that, but it's worth it. It's worth
Yeah,
it.
a lot more. And so anyway, so let's go ahead, because I know we're gonna have a lot of questions and answers. I'm gonna open the chat, and George has his hand up, so we will respect that. And because he was polite and raised his hand. Go ahead, George.
So I was reading through some of the chats, and I know there's some more questions coming, but Knolly, a lot of people have had kind of expressed, oh my God, 2 hours and only working 3. And you talked about leveraging it out, but talk to us about what it's like if you're going to spend those 2 hours lead generating. I know you've done this many times, and this is how you build your business. It's almost overwhelming what happens after that. There's too much. I can't handle it. And walk us off the cliff, because I know people feel that angst of that's too much, but it's actually easier, isn't it?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't want anybody to get the idea that this is a cold turkey thing, or you got to start this tomorrow. No, you still continue if you're working 8 hours a day, God bless you if you're working 10, 12. I did that for many years. I worked 16, 18 hours a day because I thought that was the way that it had to be. I didn't know that there was a different way. The scripture says the blessing of the Lord makes a person rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Okay, the blessing of the Lord makes a person rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. And so continue your work, your work day as you have it. So if you're working 8 hours a day, you're working 10 hours a day, continue doing that. Whatever your schedule is, all I'm saying is your 3 hours a day is going to be on actually dollar creation activities. So you want to carve out 3 hours every day to do lead generation and have an hour in there for an appointment. I don't care if you go to coffee with somebody, or you could even do a mock listing appointment. One of the people that follow me had mentioned one of the things she did to get started was she just asked people, hey, can I do a practice listing presentation with you at your house? Because I want to get good at my craft. I don't have a listing appointment for today. So she actually every day, because of what I teach, is you have that afternoon for a listing appointment. If she didn't have one, she would fill it with something, right? And that actually ended up creating a lot of the energy around, and the universe rewarded her with lots and lots of business for doing that. So the point is, so those 3 hours, I have very specifically told you what you should be focused on during that time. But the other 7 or 8 hours, you can do whatever you want. You can check, whatever, but it's not going to be, I guarantee you, it's not going to move the needle to success. And little by little, you're going to be like, I don't have to do this anymore. And you're going to cut an hour. And you say, I don't really need to do this stuff anymore. I don't have to drive to a listing because the sign is not down. I can actually call another agent and have that agent, and I'll pay them, $20, $25 to go pick up the sign, make sure it's in, whatever. I mean, little by little, you'll start to peel away these hours that are non-dollar productive. And when you really have mastered it, that's you, and you're only doing the stuff, you will refuse to do anything that is not moving the needle to success. And that's most of the stuff you do.
That's the key, man.
That's the most.
One more thing, and then we're going to go. Alice, I promise you're next, but this was written down in the chat. I wanted to make sure we got it. And I think I could probably help with this one, Knolly. How do you divide the tasks among your virtual assistants? And before you answer, since I've had 7 or 8 working for me at one time there, number one responsibility, if you've got a virtual assistant and you're hiring a second one, is you're going to cross-train in a lot of things so that you're never in harm's way. And then the division of the tasks, Knolly, I'd love your expertise on that, please.
Yeah, so I basically I divide mine up so it's really by personality profiles, probably the best way I could say this. So essentially, like I'll have, so some tasks are administrative in nature. So if anybody that study I do a lot of study in personality profiles, and I study many systems in this. So if you have someone like on the DISC profile that's a high S or a high C, those people are going to be very good with paperwork and systems and systematizing your business. By the way, I don't teach that you should systematize your own business. You should actually leverage that out. You systematize after you delegate. So you delegate, and then the person you delegate to should be able to come into your organization and completely systematize it for you. Most people say, oh, I'm going to hire someone once I have it organized. It's like, no, that's dumb. You know, that's in reverse, I should say.
Yeah.
And so the administrative tasks, I have usually a DC or a CS or SC, somebody in that profile. And so what will happen is when you look at the you know, all the steps, okay, the 46 steps, you'll see that there's some things like I had Barbara and Morris. So some things were just runner type tasks, like you had to go put up the sign and lock box, you had to walk through the house with the seller. Even when I was on a listing appointment, I got to the point where, and this was after just a few hundred listings, I got tired of going through the house and making a checklist of the things that needed to be done in the house, because that was a waste of, not a waste, but it was not look, you already signed the listing appointment. I'm out. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So I would tell them, I say, hey, you know what? I'm not really good at looking at houses. What do you mean you're not good at looking at houses? You sold over 800, over 1,000, whenever it was at the time. You sold over this many houses. I said, yeah. Oh, you're talking about selling houses. I'm really good at selling houses. I'm just not that good at looking at them. I'm a sales, you know, I'm sales and marketing. I run the marketing and sales division. Now I've got another guy, okay, in a different division of my company, and he's really good at looking at houses. So he can set up an appointment. In fact, we can get you on the books right now. He'll walk through the house with you. He'll give you a checklist. He'll do all that. And so that was Morris. Morris would go out and spend an hour or 2 hours with him. No problem. Okay. And so anyway, I just so what would happen is a file would come in. It would go to Barbara. Barbara would do all her stuff. She'd input, do this, do that. Then we go back to Morris, and then it go back to Barbara. And it would just, but I color code everything. So I'm going to see if I can find something that I can pull up. And I know that there's a couple others that want to.
Yeah. While you're doing that, let's go to Alice. That's good stuff you're talking about. We don't have time for all the detail, but Alice, go ahead with your question.
I just have show and tell for Knolly.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me jump back.
You see my Monopoly houses?
Hey, that's what's up. I like that.
So these are my goals. These are my solds. These are my pendings.
Yeah,
Where did you get that idea, Alice?
From Knolly Williams. Online, before he was at the XP, when I was first in real estate.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I went on eBay and I got a bunch of Monopoly sets, and I would I would just line the houses up, and I actually had one of those. What I used was one of those TV trays, like a TV dinner tray.
I love it.
Anybody remember TV dinners? Am I dating myself here? Anyway, it was a tray, and it had little legs on it, and so I put all my houses lined up, and I put the hotels for the big deals, and then I would move them over as I did. So I love that.
That's fantastic, Alice.
Totally stole that from you, Knolly.
Thank you.
Hey, Jacopo. Go ahead, man.
Super Fred, what's going on?
What's up?
Holly, super nice to meet you. You have a beautiful energy. It's passed through the video.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want to ask two things, like which kind the strategy you use for generate leads. It means which kind, the direction you tell us something, but in the practical work, what do you do? Cold calling? What do you do, like farming?
Yeah, let me help you. I'm gonna help you real quick, and let me make sure. How do you pronounce your name?
Jacopo in Italian.
Jacopo. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Right,
okay.
Perfect. You look.
Hey, listen.
Hey, we're changing names.
We're
changing names today.
We've been working together since October. I say 4 or 5 different ways all the time. It doesn't matter.
So Jacopo, I run a group at EXP called Mentorship Masters, and they kept, because I would say, hey, every day I want you in your lead generation bunker, 9 o'clock to 11, 9 o'clock to 11, boom, boom, boom. We all do it together. So they would be like, man, I'm in my lead generation bunker. I just don't know what to do. Like, should I call? Should I do? So here's what I believe. I believe that you should lead generate based on your personality profile. Let me say it again. You should lead generate based on your personality profile. I have people that they go to a coffee shop for 2 hours and they just talk to people. I have other people that are mortified of doing that. I never made a cold call. Okay. A lot of people don't know this about me. I was the shyest kid in school. Okay. I think I was. I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert at all. I'm just stepping up to I'm letting the big me. See, everybody has a little me, the ego, and we all have a big me. That's the real you. That's the you that is you. And sometimes we let the little me get out and play. And most people run their lives with the little me. But the big me wants to do big stuff, big, bold stuff. The little me is like, man, Knolly, you can't. See, I was in 3 years of speech therapy just to talk right when I was 6, 7 years old. Okay. I was abused as a kid. I was, from the time I was about 6, 7 years old, I was beaten, okay, with whips, extension cords, you name it. I would wake up morning after morning with yet another extension cord beating and these hot, painful, stinging welts all over my body. And I would put on long sleeve shirt, long pants, just so the other kids wouldn't make fun of me. And the teachers wouldn't, wouldn't ask me what was going on at home because I didn't want to go to a foster home. Okay. And my mom, who was, she was an abusive parent. God, I love her. I love her. She's a beautiful person now, but she was bipolar. She had a lot of issues. And she abused us as kids. It was like living in a POW camp. Okay. And I couldn't speak. I had a speech impediment. So the little me says, man, fool. And my mom would tell me, boy, you'll never amount to anything. You're worthless. I'm sorry I ever had you. I should have had an abortion. I mean, deep stuff that you would never tell a kid. Okay. And that's what I was told. That's how I grew up. Okay. So the little me was programmed. And by the way, my mom has a master's degree in what? Psychology.
Yep.
Psychology. Right. So you guys know I was programmed from a very young age to fail. And the little me is like, man, fool, who you think you are trying to tell somebody how to, you can't be successful, even though I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Look, that's every day. That doesn't go away. It just becomes more diminished. It's just more of a joke. Like, cause the little me is like, man, we can't get on this stage. I'm like, oh, you scared, huh? Hey. And by the way, the ego, I don't get mad at it. It's just it's part of who we are. I just pat him on the shoulder and say, hey, buddy, I get it. You're scared. Don't worry. We got this. Come on, big me. You ready? Big me's like, yeah, I'm ready, fool. Let's go. And so that's how I roll. And so the question becomes, what do I do when I'm in my lead generation? There we go. What's up, Hart? Uh-huh. Yeah. I got to have you on, Fred, to teach that to my group. They're getting tired of hearing it from me. So the point is, Giacomo, when you get in your lead generation bunker, you do you, man. You do it your way. I actually wrote another book, which I give away for free. It's called Triple My Listings, 27 marketing ideas for free seller leads. That's at Knolly.com. Okay. Or you can go to triplemylistings.com. You pay the shipping. We send it out to you. Because my people were getting stuck. Like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I'm going to write down 27 of my favorite strategies for generating seller leads. And all you got to do is go through and you see a strategy. Okay. If you like it, do it. If you don't like it, move on to the next one. And you only have to pick about 3 or 4 of these if you want to do 100 deals a year. Only about 3 or 4. So the point is, and this is more tactical because I think that's what you're asking. What are the tactical things that I can do? But you got to be careful because a lot of times people get into the tactical stuff and they don't remember we're holistic. They haven't shored up these other things. So they're starting to build this big old giant house on sand. Have you ever seen an agent that goes out and they take over the neighborhood and then the next 2 or 3 years later, they're broke. They're not doing anything. You ever seen that happen? Yeah, because they never took the time to really get a good foundation, which is man, tell me what to do now. Who do I call? What do I do? Boom, boom, boom. Next thing I know, you got 20 or 30 deals and it implodes. Okay, because you never really learn the good stuff. You just learn. Now, I can make people come to me all the time. They're like, man, I want to be rich. Okay, I made my first million when I was 29 years old. I made my first million. When I was 29, I was making $150,000 a month. At 29 years old. Okay. I was still dumb. I was spending 160. Okay. That's dumb with a capital D. And so I say, hey, I can make you rich and you get rich in 6 months. You'll have your 500,000 or your million, but you're just going to be a miserable millionaire. Yeah. So get this. This is what you need right here. Triple My Listings.
Never made a prospecting call. I love it, man. I love it. And I
never made a cold call ever. in my
yeah.
life. And that was just from
cold
fear.
call. Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in my group that bang out the cold calls, and I encourage them to do it because that's what they're good at. That's their personality profile. They're good at that.
Right. And one of the things you mentioned at the very beginning, you hired a coach in the first year and you failed miserably because she made you shoot for 100 and you
Yeah.
only hit 80.
I only hit 80.
But yet the difference was she took you from a 20 mindset to a 100 mindset. And so therefore you hit 80. That's why this is what it's all about, man. And the stuff you're hitting on, that abuse, my story too. Most of the people that are hanging out with me 4 years know my story. I'm looking at people on the screen, abused. It's programming, mother, fathers, teachers, and preachers all of our lives, right?
Yeah.
And we gotta deprogram, we gotta unlearn. So man, thank you so much.
That's the key.
And I'm gonna allow one more question. Somebody should either raise your hand or shout out. And then anything I missed, Claire, if you can look at that, do me a favor, you look at the chat if there's something real.
Yeah, so Knolly, thank you so much. This has been impactful and powerful as well. So could you just show us a life of what your lead generation consists of? Because you said no cold calls. However, what is the lead generation process when you're on those listings in the beginning? What does that look like? What do those calls look like? What were you doing for those money income producing habits?
Yeah, I'll share that. So
And
everybody
I love
can
that
see.
screen. Thank you
Yeah.
for putting that up. You see, this
Yeah.
is how you organize. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that just kind of answered the question earlier, who does
Yep.
what? If it's not highlighted, it would be something that either I would do or I'd have a licensed assistant do it.
Right.
Yeah. So going into, is it Claire, right? Claire's asking. So essentially when I first got in the business, I cut my teeth with expireds. Okay. But I was very afraid to call people. So I did a lot of postcards. And by the way, when you look at expireds, they fall into 3 buckets. This is just one example. Okay. And it's just one of the 27 tactics that I teach. But let's say if you were going after expireds, you could go after fresh expireds. Those are so about 30% of those expireds, according to RedX and all the data, will rehire another agent. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but 28% of them will list with the same agent again. Okay, but 30% of them will relist their house with another agent within 30 days. So most agents are going after that 30%, boom, boom, hammering them out. They're getting 5, 10, 15 calls that morning. Their house expires. The way I did it was I went after the 3rd bucket, which was what we call old expireds. There's 30% of all expireds will list again after 90 days. Okay. Sometimes it'll be after 60 days, 90 days, maybe in 3 or 4 months. So I was capturing all those people, and I would basically, I did a postcard campaign. I did a letter. I did a letter first, then a postcard, then another letter, then another postcard, then and it got to such a degree that so many, this was thousands of these that I would send out, and people would just reach out to me. So 100% of my business was incoming. People would call me, but I had tools. So it's what we call your value proposition. I specifically teach 7 tools that you have to have as a listing specialist to have a strong value prop, because people want to know why they should do business with you. They may not even know that they want to know that. Okay. But I had a lot of things, a lot of tools, like my seller guide, the complete guide to selling your home, which I now license out. Doesn't cost you a dime. You have sponsors pay for it. But it's a book that I wrote for why you should hire me and what you should be looking for in the next agent that you hire, or any agent that you hire. I also have anyway, there's a lot of tools. So there's like 7 of them that create a value proposition. It's why you should hire me. And then the system that I used was very simple. So I had an 18 touch, and I still teach this and still do it with my team. Is an 18 touch system when it came to your sphere of influence, people that know, like, and trust you. Okay. So that consists of a monthly e-newsletter. That's every single month. You're sending them a e-newsletter. It's got to be set it and forget it. I don't want you typing up a newsletter, creating articles. That's not, it's just all you're doing is tapping them on the shoulder. Hey, I'm still here. 4 times a year, you send them a postcard. Okay. So it's the same postcard 4 times. Then next year you come up with a new design, whatever, but it's got to be seller centric. A lot of you are generating the kind of leads you're generating because of the kind of messaging you're putting out. I never once, not once in my career have I ever marketed for a buyer. Let me say it again. Now, I'm not telling you not to do this. You just got to know who you're going after. Okay. I just never marketed for a buyer ever. I had tons of buyers because I had tons of listings. Listings attract buyers. But all my messaging was always, what could your home be worth in today's shifting market? What's your home worth now? Okay. Are you thinking about selling your home? Those were all my messages. Okay. So I had postcards that would go out with that. And then twice a year, I would do a phone call. Okay. It wasn't a cold call because this was my SOI. Farming, I had 4 criteria for how I picked a farm. And then I would just follow that. And my house, my farm was 5,000 homes, and I didn't pay 1 cent. How much? Not one cent did I ever pay for my farming strategy. And I teach this. It's how to farm for free. Farming shouldn't cost you a dime. Okay. And then I picked a niche. Okay. So at one point it was expireds. And then I kept, people didn't want to list. I'm like, what's your problem, man? Why? I'm shaking them. They're like, I can't afford it. I owe the bank money. I'm like, crap. So then I figured out short sales and then started doing that. And then when short sales died down, I went back to traditional listings. Okay. Then started doing probate and divorce. So you always want to have a niche. So those are the 3 buckets. And you have a little bit of a different way that you operate in each bucket, if you will. Okay. And that's what you basically do for your daily, your 2 hours of lead generation. So like say Monday and Wednesdays, you're doing SOI. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're doing your farm, and Fridays, you're doing your niche. It's very systematic, very systematic. And so the purpose, when you systematize it the way I teach, it's for one reason, and that's to eliminate thinking. You have to eliminate thinking if you want to succeed. If you get down in your lead generation bunker and you have to think, we got a problem. We're already out. We've got a big problem. You should just sit down, and just like you're going to watch a Netflix series, boom, you just press play. Okay. You already know you midway into the series. All right. Now, a lot of people do this, Claire, and what do? They say, well, I'm going to lead generate for 6 or 7 hours. No, all you're doing is cruising for a bruising, and you're going straight for burnout. Just imagine you're just watching The Outer Banks, right? It just came out, and you only allow yourself 2 episodes to watch. 2 episodes. What are you waiting for the next day? You're waiting for the next day, So when you lead generate 90 minutes or 2 hours a day, you can't wait to get to lead generating the next day, because you didn't lead generate 7 hours. You lead generated for 90 minutes or 2 hours. And then you're like, you left with stuff undone. It's like, man, I got to do this. Nope, my time's up. Crap. Okay. The next day you're excited. You're like, is it 9 o'clock yet? Oh, it's 8:30. Okay. It's almost time. Boom. You come in and you got fire behind you. So don't take the stuff I teach and then just go, balls to the wall. Can we say that here? Don't do that. Don't do that. You got to meter it. Because that's what keeps it fun, refreshing, and keeps the excitement high.
Knolly, thank you so much. And Ben Eilers and Kelly Darling, love you.
Hey,
I love them.
Shannon said she wants. Can we stay here and listen to you all day? Go to his website or YouTube channel. So, Knolly, I'll tell you. I'm sorry, Knolly, holy Knolly. You like your new name, Holy Knolly, not the HOLY, the WHOLLY.
Yeah, I've never been called that. I love that. That's great.
I love it, man. Hey, listen, man, I'll tell you what, I'm not surprised. I can't even use the word excited. I'm ecstatic. So just thank you so much. A couple sessions I've been in with you at the different events and stuff, and chatting with you in the hallway a couple times, just saying hello. I just said, man, I got to get this guy on, and I've had it on. You ready for this? 2 years.
Woo!
I've been bringing guests on for about a year, and I go, what's going on here?
It's all timing.
It's all timing, man.
Yeah.
That's it. And then next week, Sandy just stepped away. I wanted to just give her Sandy next week, a multifamily investor, just a young lady. So her story will blow you away. I'm looking forward to that next week, Sandy. Thanks for volunteering for next week. You want to hear how she gets involved in multifamily investing. what led her to that. And her story, I don't even want to, it's a surprise. So show up next week for sure. And, all right. Thank you so much. And at this point,
let me share real quick
Yeah.
couple of resources. So for those, I know a lot of you guys are and it always happens, people are like, because I get blown up after these with questions, and it's good. I love it. I love you guys be in touch. So I want to encourage you to pre-order. The book is called 3 Hours a Day. It's the whole blueprint for everything that I teach. I didn't hold anything back. Okay. And it's a complete blueprint. The book is not out yet. Okay. But you can pre-order it at 3hoursaday.com, 3hoursaday.com. And then also I've got another, site that I'm going to share with you. It's called Knolly.com/more, MORE. There's not even I don't even think there's a lead capture form on there. It's just, or maybe there is, maybe it is, but there's basically 3 core videos that you want to have. It's like a training series from me. And my big thing is building my rev share group. I think most of you guys are already, I think most people are already at EXP already, or is it?
Yeah, we have guests all the time.
Yeah, we have guests too. So this is just going to be free for you. It's because my whole thing is not, you sign up with these trainers and then they've got some package or something they're trying to sell you. I'm all about trying to build my rev share groups. You guys are already here. I consider you guys all my cousins. So I'm just sharing with family right now. So it's Knolly.com/more, MORE. And that will give you some of the foundational videos that I put together to help you kind of continue the journey. And I love you. Thank you so much, Fred.
You're welcome.
I appreciate George for vouching for me. And one thing I really am kind of, I don't want to say I'm upset with George, but I'm not really feeling. Can I share that real quick? Just like, yeah. Dude just shows up and he looks better than me.
Oh, look at that. He got muted right in the middle of that. How does that work? Knolly, I don't know what happened, man.
Oh, somebody muted me. Oh, the powers that be. The powers that be. Okay, I won't say it. All right. No, but he shows up and he just looks better than me. Like he's rocking the hat, got a nicer shirt than I have. He just straight showed me out.
Well, you know what? I know
No.
you're really blowing smoke because I disagree with that.
Yeah, me too.
Totally.
Anyway,
They're tired. They're tired of
you
hearing from me. Hey, listen, Knolly, I get to throw in a word or two. First off, hi to Josie. I hope you guys are doing terrific down in Puerto Rico, settling in, and everything is exactly as you chose. That's very exciting, great stuff. We hear things all the time. We do this every single day of the week, and it was such a blessing to have fresh perspectives. Looking through the chats, I've been monitoring it. So many people impacted. You've really just made a massive difference, and I think in mindset as well. Thank you for coming from contribution always, and for being who you are. I love you, man. You're awesome, and I will see you in Puerto Rico soon or somewhere else shortly.
God bless. I love you. Some of you guys are coming to Cabo. We'll see you there. I'll be in Cabo, baby. Cabo. I'm on all the events. So hey, and by the way, if you see me at an event, I'm going to put this out there. Just come give me a high five, a hug. I do not mind being stopped. People are like, man, I saw you, but you were eating. So no, fool. Look, this is our once in a lifetime chance to get together with family. If I'm eating, you see me something, just interrupt my bite. Just come on, let's do some selfies together. Let's do it. So yeah. Because I don't recognize everybody when I'm at, but you guys are always going to recognize me, right? Because I got my little thing going. So
well, it's hard to pick you out of a crowd, Knolly.
I know it's very difficult
with a killer hat, 6'2", with good thin dude, black dude. I mean, black dude, 6'2" with a killer hat. That just doesn't happen all the time. We can find you everywhere, brother.
I like that 6'2". Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm gonna add an inch or two if we can. I need it as well.
Yeah. All right.
Seriously, thank you, Fred. Let it finish. To leave it to you, sir.
Yes, sir. And Krista, let's go to the events. They give Krista's promoting events, and Krista is at that where she's ready to explode her business to the next level and get these assistants. And so I'm glad she's on a lot of us on Gina. I'm looking at Gina. I'm looking at all of you. I mean, you were all ready for that next level. They've got that foundation in. And now they're got the business, and they're going, okay, they're really now how do I handle all this 3 hours a day thing, man? I'm really, really excited about. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad all of you joined because it definitely was worth the price of admission for sure. Thank you.
My pleasure. God bless you
All
all. And thank you for being here. Thank you.
Holy
Knolly.
Knolly, guys. Holy Knolly.
Holy Knolly, baby, in the house.
All right, we got 9 minutes for after party, and I'll leave it to y'all. I will monitor through, and at 10 o'clock, get some work done. You all know how this goes. This one ran late. Godfather, again, thank you. Knolly, so good to see you, brother. I'll see you real soon. I guarantee it.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Open it up for everybody. It's open chat. You guys know what to do.
Hey, Knolly.
Think he hopped off, Tom. You just missed him, buddy.
I know that Lizette and Diviana and a few of our ladies are going to be doing an event in Puerto Rico. I thought it would be great for the invite to go out to Knolly and see if he can make it there.
Right on. Yeah, there's a lot of people in Puerto Rico that we could talk to for sure.
Yeah, we're
He
doing,
and his wife, by the way.
Yes, Josie's amazing.
we're doing a seminar to connecting the flights, kind of called something like that in Spanish, from Puerto Rico to Orlando, and how does that look like the transition to move over there to over here. So we're partnering up 4 different agents. 3 of them are in our group and 1 of them is in another business.
Nice.
George, did you want to stop the recording? Do you